Hey guys, welcome back to Big Shoulders. Been away for a while, and my apologies. There's just been a whole lot going on in the world, and Big Shoulders obviously is one of the programs that I do on my channel that is very, very close to my heart as a Chicagoan. And so there have been things that I've thought about putting up, and they really just didn't meet my standard. And for all five of you that happen to watch this particular show on my channel, I don't want to give you anything subpar if I can avoid it. So, anyways, some stuff I want to talk about today, and this is very Chicago, very sports, very city stuff, is this whole concept of what is called the 78. For those of you that aren't aware, if you're outside Chicago, the 78 is this proposed 78th community area. Chicago has 77 community areas. That is not 77 neighborhoods. We have way more neighborhoods than that, but 77 designated community areas. Stuff like Inglewood, West Loop, Lincoln Square, and so on. And this particular spot would basically be designated basically between South Loop and Chinatown. And what is such a big deal about this is there's proposed $9 billion worth of investment that would go into this area. Obviously, there would be hotels, there'd be shopping district, all of that. But one of the big pieces is basically the proposed stadiums for the Chicago White Sox. So it'd be a new stadium for the Chicago White Sox and the Chicago Fire, which is our soccer club or our football club. And I guess what I wanted to talk about today regarding this, as a Sox fan, but also as a Chicagoan who's watched development in the city, really just for the most part get concentrated downtown. I have nothing against downtown. Downtown is great. Downtown is now far more of a destination now that I'm an adult than it ever was while I was a kid or even a teenager. There's so much more to do downtown. We have the new Millennium Park. We have there's so much that has gone on down there that it's not just a spot where obviously the finance district is. When I was coming up, unless you worked in the finance district or you worked downtown, or you're going to Soldiers Field, for a Bears game, there wasn't a whole lot of a reason to go downtown. And that's completely changed, which is awesome. The Riverwalk, the architectural boat tours, there's so much now that than there's ever been. I mean, those things existed before, but not to the extent that they exist today. So, what's wrong with giving the Chicago White Sox and the Chicago Fire new stadiums near downtown? Well, I've seen the renders, and they do look beautiful. And as a Sox fan, we all, I mean, not all, a lot of us remember old Comiskey, which actually was demolished in 1990 or 1991. I don't know that Guaranteed Rate Field, at least the name, is as exciting as Comiskey, or what we all call it, just Sox Park. It's a fine stadium. I actually think it's kind of better in terms of views and seating than Wrigley Field. And I love Wrigley Field as well. I'm not one of those Sox fans that's a Cubs hater at all. My whole family's Cubs fans. But the idea of getting a brand new, planned out, dressed to the nines, ballpark for the Sox sounds amazing. Ditto for the Fire. But one of my problems, is that anyone who has spent any time in Chicago, and certainly people who have grown up there and lived there for any amount of time, know that the South and West sides, but I would say particularly the South side, has, I think, been neglected. It is a part of town that I feel so few people have nice things to say about the South side. Unless you've been there, unless you've lived there, unless you have family there, friends there, you've spent time there. There's nothing wrong with the South side. South side is full of great people, history, culture, food, all that. But I feel that to pull the Sox from where they are at 35th and Shields, to put them closer to downtown, again, South Loop, Chinatown, that's not downtown, but I feel like we're taking something away from a part of town, that is to say the South Side, that already has been so ignored and so neglected by the city and media, frankly, that I'm kind of insulted. Now, would I go to a new Sox stadium in this proposed new 78th community district? Yeah, I would. Of course, I would. Um, but it doesn't stop there. There's other questions because the owner of the Chicago Fire, Joe Mansueto, he's worth about $7 billion. All right, and he has proposed to fund his stadium completely privately, totally out of his own pocket. How about that? A billionaire that doesn't want to force taxpayers to build his stadium. That's awesome. That's the way it should be. I don't know why it has ever been allowed to use public funds, taxpayer dollars, whether municipal, county, state, to build someone's private enterprise in terms of sports or whatever. It's insane to me. So, respect to Joe Mansueto. I've always loved the Fire. I've been to games. It's a great time. Now we come to a team that is near and dear to my heart, the aforementioned Chicago White Sox. Go Sox. Now, the owner of the Chicago White Sox, Jerry Reinsdorf, who was worth about $2 billion. That's still a lot of money. It's not $7 billion like Joe Mansueto's, but $2 billion, you could spend a whole billion and still have a billion left over. And that's kind of what I would propose, since the cost of a decent park, I guess you could drop a billion, say, on the new Sox Park proposed to this new 78th community area. If Reinsdorf were to do that, he would still have a whole other $1 billion that he could not possibly ever spend in his lifetime. Mr. Reinsdorf has asked and seems to want the city and the state to help fund his new baseball park. The balls on this guy, especially after the last season we had. I mean, they could barely fill the park. It was embarrassing. It was a horrible season. And this guy has the cojones to ask a city, the city of Chicago, which is $1 billion in the hole, not a million, $1 billion in the hole, and the state of Illinois to fund his venture. Man, you're checked out, man. You are not connected to reality anymore, and it's really frustrating. You want a new stadium, man. Again, you could drop up to $1 billion of your own money. And I'm not telling you that you have to do this, or anybody they have to do anything, but you could, to the tune of $1 billion, create maybe one of the best ballparks ever built, and you could keep it on the south side. You don't have to move it. You could do what so few people in government, in media, have ever been willing to do for the south side, and actually invest in the south side. White Sox fans are diehards. They will watch games. They'll go to the park. I don't understand why that would be a difficult thing to do at all. With your resources, with your reach, this beautiful render that I've seen of the Sox Park that would be in the 78, you could build that right there on 35th. It would be real easy to do that. So why not? Again, it's fun to want to be a part of this $9 billion of investment that I guess is projected to bring around 20,000 jobs. That's cool. That's great. I'm not against economic development. I'm not against growth. But can we spread it out around town, around the city? Why does it all have to kind of be near downtown or in the loop? There's lots of great spots throughout the city that deserve, I think, to get a shot. Now, at the same time, I wouldn't want the neighborhood, of Sox Park to be gentrified. I don't want people pushed out. I don't want their rents and their mortgages going through the roof, like I've watched in other parts of the city, that I've seen in LA, that we've seen in places like San Francisco. One of the things that's so great about Chicago is it's one of the few major American metropolises in which you can still afford to go out to dinner. You can still have a really great quality of life. You can catch a ball game. You can go downtown. You can go to museums. You can go into all of our great neighborhoods and absorb the food and the culture, all of these things, and do it on CTA. You don't even have to own a car. Chicago is one of those gems, and when people give it a chance, they see this. And so I don't necessarily want to see the South Side gentrified. I don't want to see people pushed out of their neighborhoods. I don't want to see people pushed out of their homes at all. I know there's a way that you can invest in communities without completely turning them over. There's got to be a way to do this. But for sure, Mr. Reinsdorf, with all due respect, if you want to build it, use your own money. Okay? A friend of mine said, I think J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, said no to any type of venture of using taxpayer funds, which is good. Because again, Chicago right now is in the hole about $1 billion. And part of the reason we're in the hole $1 billion is because we just had a series of, just unaware mayors. It was actually Mayor Daley who sold the rights to Chicago's public parking meters to Abu Dhabi. And since that sale went through at the end of Mayor Daley's term, was that 12, 15 years ago now, the total revenue made by those public parking meters is $1.5 billion. Interesting that the hole we're in as a city, and that's almost all pensions, could be solved and shored up completely by the money we gave away by selling those parking meters. And we've had 1, 2, 3 mayors since then. We've had Mayor Emanuel, Mayor Lori Lightfoot, and now current Mayor Brandon Johnson. And I really haven't seen any of these people come up with a great fiscal plan to shore up these accounts, to track spending, get us as a city somewhere near fiscal sanity. And that's hard to do because we don't have a city charter, and our aldermen can kind of do as they wish. And as voters, if we don't ever hold these people accountable, well, they're just going to keep doing this. They're going to spend money that we don't have on top of the money that we gave them, and for some reason continue to give them. It doesn't make any sense. It's like giving a drug addict more drugs. Why would you do that? Cut them off. But yeah, certainly under no circumstances should the taxpayers of Chicago or the state of Illinois be funding any sports stadiums or any private ventures, period. The Sox have lasted this long, and hopefully they'll last another 100 years. But yeah, we can do this on the South Side. Not everything has to be downtown. We have to, and I hope Southsiders stand up for themselves and they make their voices clear that you don't. Not everything has to be downtown. Downtown is great. It's thriving. There's awesome stuff there. It's time to live up to, I believe it was an initiative under Lori Lightfoot that was called Invest South and West. Where's that initiative? Taking the Sox out of the heart of the South Side is not building and investing South and West. It's just not. So, those of you that agree with me, make your voices heard. Obviously, we're not going to fund these stadiums. I hope not. Hopefully, Governor Pritzker and the city holds to that. But the city can't do it because clearly the money isn't there. But yeah, Mr. Reinsdorf, with all due respect, you want a new stadium, write a check. You can totally do it. And frankly, after this lackluster season, and just the fact that I don't think we've gotten as much investment in our team for a while now, I think maybe you owe it to the fans. If you love this team as much as you claim to, and I think you do, help us out. Let's build something new, and let's build it on the South Side. Let's make the South Side as much of a destination as parts of the North Side and downtown. We can do it. I believe in you. So yeah, guys, what do you think? Should we build the 78? Should we, pull, our stadiums and I don't know, disinvest these sports teams for where they're at in the city and put them closer to downtown. It's tough. Again, I've seen the renders. It looks beautiful. I think it would be probably great and it would probably be fun. But I'm also tired of watching the South Side um, be disenfranchised, be disinvested, and but whether it be by our politicians, it's like no, we have to hold their feet to the fire. We can't keep doing that. But maybe you disagree. Maybe you think it's exactly what the Sox need. Maybe it would give a boost and build fandom and all of that. Let me know in the comments below. And if you've hung in this long, please like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.